Howdy once again, it's tubalcain, and this time with episode number 33 of my This and That series, and I've got several things to show you today, and some of it is revisiting, because we had talked about the different boxes. I know, who cares, but in the earlier days, some of the boxes like Brown and Sharp and the Starrett box that was given to me by Dan Ketchum were in wooden boxes. Now I'm sure there was some other outside box too, but I have some other boxes here in the shop. I just wanted to compare them. You know, that's, I think, the contemporary box still, as far as I know, but this is what some of the older boxes look like. And that's probably from the 40s or 50s, I'm not real sure. But someone also said, oh, and here's one more Starrett box, and that's in green, and they're the little Starrett die maker vices, tool maker vices. The label is gone, but that's the original Starrett box. And someone said, well, how about some of the other brands? Well, Shear Tomiko, I thought, had a dignified looking box for their micrometers, so that's probably, I don't know, from the 60s. It's a metric micrometer. I liked the looks of Central Tool Company's boxes. And I had seen many Lufkin boxes, but I only have one at this time, and they were just a plain manila type color with a label on the front. So that's all I'll mention about these boxes, and I bet some of you are glad. All right, let's go on to another item here. I had a pleasant surprise yesterday. I had a visitor, and his name was Mr. Jim Collar, and he came down from Naperville, Illinois. That's about 100 miles from me almost. It's one of the bigger suburbs of Chicago. Most of you probably have heard of it. And he brought me a gift, a belated Christmas gift, because it's just a few days after Christmas of 2017. And thank you, Jim, ever so much. And we had a nice visit for about an hour before he had to get back home, and he brought me this Wilton vise. It's a 2-axis vise, and it's brand new. He said he never has used it, and he's been kicking around it in the shop with it and needed it out of the way. It's quite heavy. It must weigh about 50 pounds. 6 inches on the jaws, and it's just beautiful. And I haven't seen a vise like this. It has one guide rod. It's all cast iron. So I really appreciate this. I guess that Wilton makes this in different sizes. They also have a 4-inch, and it's got dovetails and even gibs, so it can be adjusted. No holes pecked in it yet. So if you see any holes in this eventually, you know, my standard excuse, I didn't do it, isn't going to work. And I like that finish too, that green Wilton finish. I put Jim's name on there so I can remember. And I'm going to dedicate this and mount it at least semi-permanently on my Delta drill press. The one that where are we at here? This one here. Although I tell you, that's sure going to throw the weight off. Remember, I put the counterbalance on that. It'll never be the same because this is so heavy. But I was real excited about it, and actually I still am, if you want to know the truth, and I think you do. You know what, I had a tremendous response to this video, and it really surprised me because I thought it was just an obvious thing, and I was very hesitant about even putting that video on. But thanks for the good response, and let me do a few follow-ups on that from what people have said. So be sure and look at that video if you haven't seen it, and read through the comments. There's some real interesting ones. So let me show you now what a greenhouse pulley is. This is a greenhouse pulley, and they were used in greenhouses to raise the heavy glass sashes that they had years ago. So they were that malleable metal, I believe, like you see in pipe fittings, and they were hot dip galvanized and would last forever. And I found this picture on, that's the bottom of it, on the internet, and I thought I'd show that because most of you did not know what that was. They don't know what it is at the hardware store. And you know, all those windows in a greenhouse, if they have any windows, are electronically controlled now. They don't have to hoist them by hand. But that's what I used on the original machines that I equipped at the high school, and so did other teachers that I knew. So just thought I'd point that out. And then let me show you something else. My outfit was rather crude, really. I did it real quickly, but several other people did them. Here's one with 2 pulleys that's really neat, and then there were many other versions of this too. I forgot who sent me that picture, but thanks for sending it along. And that's very nicely made. And some of them used cable, like a bicycle brake cable, which is all you'd need for 30 or 40 pounds. And someone sent this information to me also, and it's called the Drill Press Easy Rider Kit. And as far as I know, this is being made down in Australia by a couple shop teachers, and it's marketed. And again, it's similar to what I was doing, but they make a commercial version of that. And if you do a search on that, I believe you can find it and take a look at that. But I thought that was pretty neat. So there must be a demand for this. And there were an awful lot of views on that, so thanks for watching that. Many people watched these 2 videos here, and that's concerned with that Delta variable speed drill press. And then I had an interesting, I get a lot of mail, and I'm sorry I don't answer all of it, but thanks for sending it along. But someone said that this is way back in the 50s, I believe. They made a speed control device, speed reducing pulley, I should say, called the Pull gear, and this was an advertisement, and it was there's the name there, long out of business, I'm sure. It was very well made, and it used, let's see, what kind of gears? Let me show you some other pictures here. Planetary gears, but I am sure that this cost more than the drill press, and still would cost more than a drill press, or you'd see one on a lot of machines and you don't. So there it is, made with ball bearings and precision cut gears. I would love to get a hold of one of these. And I do have a speed control like that on my bandsaw, although it's a gearbox, and that changes it from wood cutting to metal cutting, and I love that. But it's an expensive unit to make, but there are several pages here. I'm not going to go through all of that, but that cost $69 in the 50s, which would be really like $500 now. So you're not going to sell it. And there's how to install it on the motor. It came in several shaft sizes. It had a rod there to keep the whole unit from spinning like we do on a tapping head. So anyway, I thought that was really neat. And you could put it on and off real quickly, I think just with a rod or a movement of that device there at the top. I'm not going to read through it again. It's been a while since I read it, but you can look that up if that interests you. All right, enough on drill presses. As you know, I've been working on a video course for the Logan lathe for the longest time, but one of the things, and I'm not done yet. I'm on chapter 31 out of 40. So in order to do some of the chapters, I needed a taper attachment. So way back when, 3 months ago, I made a taper attachment, or a portion of it, and many of you watched those 2 videos. And then in a later one, as a result of that video, someone sent me a commercially made one, and I did a video of that too. And the whole point here in telling you this is that these are very obscure items and hard to find. And a man sent this to me from Jacksonville, Florida, I believe it was. So it's not something you're going to find at Kmart. Or are you? I went to a... This is kind of funny, and it's almost ironic and coincidental and any other kind of word you can think of. A couple of weeks ago I said to my wife, let's get out of the house. It's cold, we got to get out of the house. So we went to a flea market about 20 miles from here, and I'm rooting through things in the back room, and I'm looking at items that are marked down because the next step is the junkyard, the scrap yard. So I took some short videos, and the whole point here is that of all things in a wooden box on the back of a shelf was a taper attachment for a lathe, homemade albeit, but nevertheless, what are the chances of running into a taper attachment in a flea market at about the same time that I'm dealing with using the taper attachment. Of course I didn't buy it because now I got one. It's universal type. I don't know what kind of machine it goes on. It's fairly well made. It certainly would work. The man must have been somewhat of a craftsman. So let's take a look at this footage now, and it's not good footage. It's taken with the cell phone, and the audio will be real bad, but nevertheless I thought worth taking a look. Here we go. I'm in an antique store, and of all things, on this shelf in this box is a homemade taper attachment for a lathe. Marked $25, but it's half price. Fairly well made too. So here it is laid out on a table. This would be the part that attaches onto the cross slide. And that's the slide bar. This would clamp onto the bed at one end, and this onto the bed at the other end, and then the taper adjusted with this curve. I don't know why they made it curved, but whoever built this did a rather nice job. But it'll never sell, they'll have to throw it away. Just thought you might be interested. Follow me on Instagram, mrpete222. Well, I received a package in the mail about a week ago or so, and it said, "Do not open till Christmas morning." Well, you know, I honored that. I didn't open it until Christmas morning, and I had a nice surprise here, and this was sent to me by a man by the name of David Pigeon, and he runs a gun shop. And you might remember a while back he sent me a thread checker, which I showed. But anyway, in the box I had quite a nice surprise, and I think I showed this on Instagram already, but there's a, you know how much I love Starrett. Well, I got a nice Starrett cap. Thank you, David. David has been in the gun business, he said, since 1959, and he's got his original South Bend, maybe it was 1949. He said he's older than me. He also sent me, in addition to these calendars, I like those on the dashboard of the car. Some caps. He said, give these to your grandsons, so they'll like those. My grandson is quite a hunter, you know. And then in this little box is a nice coffee cup that says, "He who dies with the most tools wins." So, and on both sides. So I thought that was pretty neat. So you'll see me drinking coffee out of that cup from time to time. And thank you, David, and for all of the others that have sent me things. And if I did not show what you sent me, it's because this video is running too long, so it'll be in another video. So perhaps I'll see you someplace wearing my Starrett cap or drinking coffee. And thank you for watching. Have a happy new year, and I have many more videos planned for the new year. And take a look here at my sponsors. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.